Hi students, this is Unit 2, Growth and Expansion, on Notes 2, Manifest Destiny. And your Notes 2 can be found on page 4 of your packet. On page 4, you'll see that we have a vocabulary word at the top. We have a map and an image in the middle, and we will be coloring some stuff on the map, so you will need colored pencils. Then you will also see that there's a little bit of notes and some positives and negatives of moving west that will be on the bottom that we'll fill out. So, manifest destiny is a phrase that inspired hopes and dreams in many Americans. It was based on the belief that the United States had the divine right to expand from the Atlantic Ocean all the way to the Pacific coast. Many Americans felt that it was our duty to spread the blessings of democracy to new lands. This kind of happened primarily through the years of 1803 to 1853. So, in your vocabulary, write the words manifest destiny. And this is the belief that the United States had the divine right to expand from the Atlantic to the Pacific coasts. You'll see that there's some highlighting that you could do. So, manifest destiny, it is our destiny to go from ocean to ocean. The nation expanded under manifest destiny in three main ways: through war, through treaties, and through purchases. So, we're going to explore the ways in which we gain land. And as you can see, some of them were gained through just agreements with other countries or we bought things, but we also went to war for some areas that is now our country. Okay, so you guys have your map there and then the three ways the United States grew. The first way that the United States grew was through war. And then we put examples of how, like, which areas were gained through these different things to the right of each of those words that you're writing in. So we gained a Mexican cession area, which we'll show you through war. That's in purple. Go ahead and color that in at this time. I'm not worried about what colors you pick as long as you make sure that your key is the same. We gain land through treaties. So we made agreements with people. We made agreements with the Spanish. We made agreements with Mexico, with the British to gain areas of Florida through the Texas annexation and through Oregon country. And then we also gained part of our United States land through purchases, specifically the Louisiana Purchase and the Gadsden Purchase. Please color your map at this time. Again, I don't care if you use different colors, but it needs to be labeled correctly in the key. This is a very famous picture that was painted about moving west. It's called Manifest Destiny. And you can see in this picture that there are many different things that are happening and all the people that are traveling from east to west. You have a small picture of that in your packet. So, what are some ways that we see that show American progress and maybe new technologies or what's happening as people start moving west? You may see things like bringing education and invention, canals in the east. In the big picture, the east is light and bright, and the west is dark. Mountains in the west. The west is dark and vast. Herds of buffalo run west into the darkness. So as people move west, the buffalo keep trying to move away from the people. Native Americans run west, being chased off into the darkness. So symbolic of how the United States pushed Native Americans off their land. Pioneers in covered wagons. Miners are coming west to search for riches. Talk about that a lot in the gold rush. Stagecoaches bring more settlers into the west. Farmers set up homesteads in the prairies and the plains. Trains increased travel and settlement. So, you don't have to write all of these things down, but I'd like you to choose at least 3 things that we're going to explore as people move west. So, write 3 things on that picture somewhere. If you would like to write more, you may. Okay. So, as people were moving west, there were some really positive things about gaining land and pushing our way westward. And one of the things is that we tripled our land size. We went from those 13 original states and we expanded that out quite a bit. We gained land for farming, which was great because we had to have a method to feed our countrymen or to feed our citizens. We gained access to natural resources, which were good for the economy. So when we were able to find gold, or in Minnesota last year, you guys, Minnesota studies, you learned about lumber, the lumber industry, okay? Or being able to grow food for export to sell to others, okay? Those are all ways that we can make money. So that was a good thing. There were new states that were formed. And we attracted immigration. We attracted more people coming to our country as we expanded. But a lot of opportunity here in the United States. As there were plenty of positive things, there were also many negative things about Manifest Destiny. One thing is we took land from American Indians. We killed off herds and herds of American bison. The American bison or the American buffalo is actually a bison. We caused war with Mexico. Not a good thing. We used up a lot of our natural resources, and we were using things up at a higher rate than we were replenishing some of these resources. Slavery spread, and arguments over slavery started dividing the nation. So, although our feeling that the United States should spread from the Atlantic to the Pacific, that manifest destiny, we also should understand that there were a lot of negative consequences as we moved west and we settled areas that really weren't ours to settle. We ended up taking land from a lot of different people and destroying quite a bit of wildlife along the way.
This well-known painting by John Gast has come to represent the American idea of manifest destiny. But what is manifest destiny? In the middle of the 19th century, Americans were eager to move west. They wanted to see the span of the United States from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific. Americans saw empty land waiting to be filled. They thought the open land represented opportunity and potential wealth. By moving west, they could share their unique form of government and the freedom it represented. They believed that America was destined to be a great nation. This concept of discovery was not new. Europeans believed they had a right to claim their discovery. They thought of the New World as a wilderness waiting to be tamed. But this land was not empty. It was home to countless American Indians, people who hunted, farmed, and raised families on the land. These native residents disagreed. They viewed the land as theirs. From the beginning, Americans had a different idea.
The whole continent of North America appears to be destined by divine providence to be peopled by one nation, speaking one language, professing one general system of religious and political principles, and accustomed to one general tenor of social usages and customs. For the common happiness of them all, for their peace and prosperity, I believe it is indispensable that they should be associated in one federal union. John Quincy Adams.
Journalist John L. O'Sullivan was the first to use the term manifest destiny. He wanted the United States to annex Texas and the Oregon Territory.
And that claim is by the right of our manifest destiny to overspread and to possess the whole of the continent which Providence has given us for the development of the great experiment of liberty. John L. O'Sullivan.
Americans believed it was their divine duty to spread democracy from coast to coast. Most didn't think America should take the continent by force. They believed that as Americans moved west, the Indians would gradually relinquish their lands and adapt the ways of the Christian American society. Churches and missionaries shared this belief. There was little or no consideration as to the effect settlement would have on the native peoples. As Eastern Indian tribes were moved west to make way for settlers, places like Shawnee Indian Mission were established to help with the transition and pave the way for expansion. Manifest destiny was not just a political concept. Millions of ordinary Americans believed that their best opportunities lay in the West. In the first half of the 1800s, at least 4 million people followed this dream. Many stopped for comfort or supplies at this mission, making this place a symbol of the American dream for some and the loss of a traditional way of life for others.